information. Another community meeting we're looking at is on climate change. Now, climate change is a big issue that we all need to be more aware of. And Phil Montour is working with Rod Whitlow from the Chiefs of Ontario office to come up with information on climate change that they can present to the community at a community meeting. We need to know about the effects it's having on Mother Earth and what we as a community or even as individuals can do with respect to climate change. So again, once we get the date on that meeting, we'll certainly let the community know, and we encourage everyone to get involved. The Six Nations Development Corporation, as everyone knows, was established in June. They opened their doors officially. They were established to oversee all of our own source revenue. And as I said, they officially opened their doors this past spring, and they have now just finished their first round of distributing dollars back to the community. And we're very pleased to say that during their first 6 months of operation, they were able to distribute approximately $3.5 million towards various projects or organizations in the community. They are issuing or have already issued their own release about who received money out of that. And so if you have any questions, you can just call them and ask. And I just want to take the time to extend my gratitude to the boards of the Six Nations Development Corporation. They are all community members who have applied and stepped up and stepped forward and undertaken this responsibility. So I think it's a good job they've done. They are going through growing pains, and they have told us that, depending on the feedback that they're getting with respect to this first round, they are prepared to look at making some changes that would be for the betterment of the community. So 2016 is election year here at Six Nations, and the dates have been set. The nominations will be held on Saturday, October 15th. The advanced voting will be on Saturday, November 12th, and the election will be on Saturday, November 19th. So pay attention and watch for the information as to where those events will be taking place and as to what times. So just to wrap up some of the events, meetings, engagements that have happened since the last update. On September 15th, I was in McMaster University in Hamilton along with Councillor Ray Miracle and Kevin Sandy for the announcement of the Western Hub for the North American Indigenous Games, which is going to be McMaster University. McMaster is going to have be housing about 1,200 athletes, and they're going to be hosting about 3 or 4 sports. And of course, lacrosse is going to be hosted here at Six Nations. On September 16th, Andrea Horvath, who is the provincial leader of the New Democratic Party, visited Six Nations. And on the 16th that evening, the Mushhole Project was held at the Woodland Cultural Centre. And it was a fine event, and there were tours that were held Friday night, and 3 tours on Saturday, 3 tours on Sunday, and they were sold out. There were a lot of people that got to take tours of the Mushhole. On the 17th of September, Councillor Bob Johnson traveled to the Niagara Falls Armory to take part in the rededication of the Krupp Field Gun. And beginning on September 18th, and I think they're finished now, we had some Mapuche Indians from Chile who were painting a mural at the back of Dajo. And if you're going to walk on the blue track or go there, or even if you want to drive over and take a look at it, I think it's a beautiful piece of artwork that they've done. On September 19th, I attended the school assembly for J.C. Hill and Jameson schools first thing in the morning, because they were honoring Carrie Lee Thomas, who is now teacher at Jameson, and they were honoring her for her excellence and her athleticism on the Team Canada women's softball and getting bronze in the Worlds this year. Carrie Lee is an excellent role model and ambassador for our community, and she got to travel this year with the team over to Japan and then to BC. On September 19th, we had a meeting with the gas retailers, and again to talk about the modernization of the gas card that the Ministry of Finance is undertaking. So we want to get feedback. They are going to modernize the card, and they're looking at how they can improve the system to ensure the retailers get their rebates back faster. So if anybody's got input, you can forward them to Arlene Miracle here in our office, and we're going to compile all the input and get it back to the Ministry of Finance before the end of October. We may also look at having another meeting. The Environment Canada also was here and said that they want to talk to all the gas retailers about making sure that their storage tanks are registered. So Arlene's going to work on a meeting with the gas retailers for that as well. I also attended a meeting of the Political Confederacy at the Chiefs of Ontario. And on the 21st of September, we had some international visitors from Brazil and the United States and Canada visitors as well, who are associated with the United Church, and they toured the former residential school. And on the 21st of September, I was in Toronto with members of Tom Longboat's family, his great nieces and great nephews. And there is a hall, it's called the Great Hall, on the corner of Queen and Dovercourt in Toronto. And in the 20s, Tom Longboat used to train there. It was a former Y way back in the day, and that's where he stayed and he used to train. And so they've refurbished that hall, and one part of it, which included the inside track where he trained, they have designated it as Longboat Hall. And they've also put a plaque in to honor his practice there. So we were there for that dedication. So it was a good evening. Some of the other events that came up or are coming up is Jameson and J.C. Hill School kids had the Terry Fox run on the 23rd, and they invited me to take part in that. Also on the 23rd of September, there was an open house at Stott's Law Firm in Brantford. And I was there along with the MP and MPP to honor Howard Stotts, his son Mark, and his granddaughter Brenna, who are now all lawyers, and to also celebrate that the Stotts Law Firm has been practicing law for 50 years. On last weekend, I was invited to attend the open house at the Brantford Mosque, which was put on by the Muslim Association of Brantford. And then myself and Councillor Bob Johnson attended the 56th Field Artillery Parade that was held in Brantford. It was to celebrate their 150th anniversary, and they held an event called Freedom in the City. This past week, September 26th, I was invited to speak at the Grace Lutheran Church in Hamilton. And then again, there was a session on First Nations hydro rates in London, Ontario. On September 30th, Six Nations, as well as members from Akwesasne and some other First Nations, are continuing with our discussions on border crossing, and this time we're going to be meeting with the Canada Border Services Agency. This is going to be our initial meeting, but it's going to be the start of hopefully working with those guys and trying to come to some agreements on making it easier for our people to get back and forth across the border. Six Nations Pride is having an event at Community Hall on the evening of September 30th. I think it goes from 5 to 8. And October 1st, there is going to be a community walk to prevent violence. It's going to start at 10:30 at Ganukasha, and I think the 4 Points, and they come to meet in the village and then have a little event there. October 2nd is going to be the opening of the dedication to the War of 1812 in Queenston Heights. It's called The Landscape of Nations. Next week, October 5th, 6th, and 7th, I'll be traveling to Edmonton to speak at the Commonwealth Games International Conference. And October 11th is going to be the grand opening of the Tim Hortons. Now, I understand it's going to be open for business on October 1st, but the grand opening is going to be on October 11th. And after that, I'll be traveling to Toronto along with some councillors to attend the Ontario First Nations Economic Forum. I've also been invited to speak at a Building and Construction Trades Council conference in Hamilton on the 14th. And on that same day, the farmers are going to be hosting an agricultural day at the community hall for the kids. So finally, just some congratulations to some of our community members and teams, the Six Nations Chiefs, who won the 2016 Mann Cup, Logan Stotts, who won a Native American Music Award as the Best New Artist, and Jace Martin, who was nominated for one of the Native American Music Awards, Kevin Sandy, who has also won an Aboriginal Coaching Award from the Aboriginal Sports and Wellness Council. So congratulations to them. We have many winners who win awards here, and we'd like to acknowledge and recognize all of their efforts because we're proud of everything that they do. So that's it for this one, and our updates are getting a little bit quicker, so we'll talk again to everybody in a few weeks. Nyawa.